Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope y'all are doing good. Well, I ended up missing last Friday and I did a video. Yeah, it's been a tough week for me. I don't know if anybody missed me or not, but I definitely miss all of you. So we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about my lawnmower that did catastrophically fail. Broke down about a week and a half ago now, which is why I missed the live stream. And it was a tough job that I had never done before, had no idea what to do starting off, but I did learn a little bit. And the good news is I did get through. I'm back to cutting grass. In fact, I was working till dark tonight, trying to finish last week's work because that is how I make my livelihood. I love doing the YouTube channel. It's awesome talking about the Second Amendment and guns. It's just there ain't enough butter to put on the bread and enough money to feed and raise a family, obviously, doing this because, let's just say guns and YouTube channels aren't exactly favored on this platform. And most members of the gun community and most just people right now are completely broke. So I do need to do that, and I did have to. You know, it's not always what you want to do in life, right? It's just what you have to do. And trust me, it's way more fun to hang out with my friends on the internet than it is to be laying on your back on the concrete, covered in oil and grease. But when that's what pays the bills, that's what you have to do, right? So we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. I'm also going to talk about, look, I'm not going to do another video this week necessarily, particularly talking about the Sig Sauer P320. That kind of just goes off on its own and produces its own content. But I did notice while I was kind of forced for a week and a half to kind of be away from YouTube a little bit, I couldn't help but to notice these Sigophants and these Siggers. Now, they're called many, many things. And it just makes me think of this whole thing. And I've known this exists for a long time, and it's always going to exist. And let me say this first and foremost. Dude, like, total shout out to all of my good friends who own Sig Sauer pistols. Shout out to all of my friends who own P320s. Like, really? Like, if anyone ever thought that, oh, I don't like a person because of the handgun they purchased, look, I couldn't care less. I don't care if it's your favorite gun. That's awesome. But at the same time, this is just, you know, right now it's Sigophants and the Siggers. But it's really indicative of a much larger thing. It's actually an indication of society at large right now. And I think it has to do with a couple things. And we've talked about this so much. We're going to talk about the gun brands and the deity. The polytheism in their many gods, several gods. Some people have, sometimes in some case, one god. And he ain't in heaven. He's a brand. Whether it's a Sig, whether it's a Glock, maybe it's a Taurus. And I think I have a couple quick, simple things to kind of kick this conversation off. And it comes down to two things. And one of them we've talked about a lot before, and we've actually talked about both of these things because there's like certain indicators, but really these are like larger issues that are going on right now in this country. And you have it where good times make weak men. Dude, I remember the 90s. Look, there was all kinds of tyranny going on. I mean, that was the heart of Ruby Ridge and the so-called Branch Davidians and David Koresh. And look, we were having tyranny take over, and we were having the jackbooted thugs carrying guns of our government terrorizing us in the 90s. But, you know, maybe it's because I was younger. Maybe it was a little naivety, or maybe it was because mainstream media still had more of a grip. But around my parts, it didn't seem like we were doing all that bad. The grass was still green on my side of the fence. And it seemed like in the 90s, people could actually make a living. I'll give you a quick anecdote, but people tell me stories that they were cutting lawns for the same prices in the early 90s as in some cases people are right now. For example, And I know people that have been working a job since the 90s, and the raises they've had hasn't even come close to keeping up with inflation. So I think we had, whether they were truly good times or not, I'm not actually going to say that, but at least there was the perception during that time period that these were good times. And, you know, things go on and life goes on. And at the end of the day, the more things change, they actually stay the same. But now a lot of people are really realizing that life kind of sucks for so many people. Now, I hope it doesn't suck for people like spiritually. I hope it doesn't suck because people are, you know, not motivated about the Second Amendment or the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Like, those things need to stay at your forefront to keep you motivated and keep you positive. And I want you all to be positive. But life's just hard for a lot of people right now. Like, have you been to the grocery store lately? Have you bought gas lately? Diesel fuel? That's about $4 a gallon, you know? Mortgage rates, 7.5% if you're lucky. Anybody have a credit card? If it's not 25%, it's 30% interest rate. You know what I mean? And you go to buy parts from your lawnmower, which were always outrageously expensive because commercial equipment costs a lot of money. It's always been a racket. Everybody knows that if you've worked on equipment or your own car or whatever. But all of a sudden, it's like what used to cost $2,000 in repairs just a couple years ago is now $4,000, and actually ended up being about $4,500 from me the other day. You know what? I can't raise my prices a penny to compensate because a lot of people are having hard times right now. Even a lot of rich people are having a hard time right now, if you know what I mean. Poor people are usually a little more resilient because they know how to survive. People like me and people like a lot of you, we know how to survive, but boy, is it getting tough. Well, I think things are tough right now because in the past, it's at least been perceived that we've had good times. Good times make weak men. And we have gotten weak. We literally have. They've done everything they can in this country to completely and utterly destroy this country in so many ways. If you look at the past administration of the former vice president, but that's just kind of like literally like popping the zit after it already surfaced, realizing him and all of the debacle there. No, this goes back a long time. This goes back to overarching things like the hatred towards the Constitution. People not willing to actually read the Declaration of Independence and not willing to actually pay attention to the fact that the Founding Fathers made it very clear, crystal clear, that this whole experiment on self-governance, that this whole republic, as Ben Franklin said, if you can keep it, this was only going to work if you had strong men with somewhat of the same moral compass. And when you look at the Declaration of Independence, it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Now, most people say feminism started in the 1900s. Some people say it started with Rosie the Riveter. I've heard some people say it started with Woodstock. I've heard some people that don't pay attention to history at all say that it started in 2020 or in 2025. No, it started in the mid-1800s, and by 1848, there was a document that I'm not even going to discuss. If you know what it is, you know what it is. There was a fake Declaration of Independence written. And they changed the words. So, all men and women are created equal. Now, here's the problem. In this country for a long time, and it's all coming to a head right now, women weren't supposed to politic because they didn't have to go fight for their country. They weren't supposed to be involved in politics and making decisions on how their hometown, their state, or their country would be run because they didn't have to join the fire brigade. And that was actually a beautiful thing if you think about it. People that have liabilities, people that have duties, it is your right, it is your duty, is what the Declaration says, to throw off a tyrannical government. and to institute a new government that to them, meaning the white landowning male, that's literally what it meant. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. So that the white landowning male may institute a new government that to them, right? That to them would provide some safety and happiness. But no, we find ourselves in an era right now where women started voting, women entered the workforce. It went from the greatest country ever formed, at least in recent memory, maybe Rome when it was a republic, but before it became an empire, and we are an empire. From white, Christian, or if they weren't Christian themselves, at least still follow the Christian moral compass. If you look at the founding fathers, males. But that wasn't enough. The greatest experiment on self-governance is never enough. They brought women into the polls. They brought them into the workforce. Now it's to the point where you have to have a dual family income. And you're still more poor than it used to be, where the man of the house went to work and could afford a modest house and a car and a garage and work hard, because that's what men are supposed to do as providers for their family and as stewards of this republic. To defend the country, to go to work hard, to put food in the fridge so the wife could make it and put it on the table. And so she could stay home and lovingly nourish our children. Instead, you know what we have? And this has everything to do with the Second Amendment, guys. Trust me, it does. This has everything to do with all of this. And why we find ourselves in the shape we're in. And why everybody's so darn pissed off. I think you need to realize where the problems are and where they come from before you can try to solve them. And I do want to solve them. Like, I literally do. But no, we had to take the women out of the home and put them in the workforce to chase the dollar. Now, if anyone's ever read the Bible, it's very obvious that the love for money is the root of all evil, and this is evil. And it's always been a battle of good versus evil. And meanwhile, while the wife's at work and the husband's at work, and there's a whole lot of people that just ain't even getting married anymore at all, actually. I'm being idealistic to even assume that there's a husband and a wife, actually. But even if there is, you're chasing the dollar, and both of you combined are making less money than the man of the house used to make, because there's so much competition in the workforce that it's diluted everybody down. Where all the machines and various industrial complexes win, and people like me and people like you lose. We're losing financially, but we're also losing spiritually because when the homemaker, and you know what? I reject that premise, and I want to encourage all of you that reject that premise, stand strong, because it doesn't matter if there's 9 people around you that are wrong and you're the only one that's right. They're still wrong, and you're the only one that's right. Homemaker is not a pejorative, actually. Look, that's a beautiful thing about women, and where women are very valuable, actually. And here's the thing, as much as I just said, all men are created equal. Not men and women. Men are when it comes to politics, when it comes to this republic, okay? When it comes to protecting and defending, both with your words and your sword. Yeah, that doesn't involve women. A woman's place is in the home, and that's not a put down at all, actually. It's actually a huge compliment. And if you look at from the beginning of civilization, even before there were civilizations, it's actually provable that when it comes down to the core essence of any species, for it to survive, and for it to repopulate, and for it to perpetuate, women are actually more valuable than men. That's the crazy part, isn't it? And this stuff is so backwards right now, it's repulsive and it's stupid. No, actually being a homemaker is like of the utmost compliment. To take a simple house and turn it into a home, to raise children, where the man of the house goes to work to make the ends meet. Maybe he goes to war. Maybe he fills a bucket up to put out a fire. Maybe there's wolves at the door and he has to go out and attack them. Maybe there's a tyrannical government at your door. And a real man would die on his front lawn to save his wife and child. And a real woman would nourish those children and raise them with good principles and values. Consulting with her husband as a team on the same page when it comes to certain things, but at the same time, We're not equals, and we've never been equals, and we were never supposed to be equals. Look, there's certain things women are just better at. If you don't have women, your race goes extinct. If you don't have men to protect, somebody could just come in and take your family instantly. If there's no strong men to protect your country's going to go. And this country's almost all but gone right now. So instead, what do? Everyone's got to go to work. It's no longer 9 to 5. It's 9 to 9. It's more than that. And now the government's raising your children. They put in this new system where they want your children from cradle till grave, trying to make everybody part of the state, part of the educational industrial complex. Life's short and then you die. And every breath you have is literally a gift from God, and you should cherish that. And there's certain things that are really worth working hard for, but it's never worth working hard for a government that literally steals from you, robs from you, the fruits of your labor, minutes and hours that turn into weeks, months, and years and decades of your life that you'll never get back, that the government takes to try to put in wokeness, to try to put in propaganda against you, your family, your children, society at large. It tries to go against the Second Amendment, which is my favorite amendment because it was put there not for if, but for when they come for all the rest. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but we find ourselves in the shape we're in. And where this country's kind of gone to hell in so many ways, quite frankly, because people just didn't care for so long. And there's still a lot of people right now that just don't care. And you find people getting miserable. And as the old saying goes, this is the second old saying, hurt people tend to like to hurt other people. Hurt people hurt. And while there's so many things to be frustrated about right now, and there are things to look forward to right now, obviously, I like seeing all of you, like, for sure, right? And hanging out, there's good things to do. But a lot of people are just kind of like, man, it's pretty tough right now. So what do? I did a couple of live streams talking about Sig. You guys remember those? And I actually thought I was being like completely fair. But I've learned that there's just certain things in life, and guns are definitely part of that, no matter what. Like other things are too, don't get me wrong. But if you say something about somebody's brand of gun, it's kind of like you cuffed them right in the teeth. Or you punched the guy in the gut and then cuffed his old lady one in the teeth. Like, do you think to yourself, like, whoa, look, here's the deal. I said this in the beginning of this stream, and I'm going to say it again. I don't have any problems with people that own 6 Sauer P320s or the pistols. But I do have a problem with this company and the way they've handled all this. It's a big deal, and that's actually the real problem at this point. There's guns, allegedly, because these people like to sue people. Good luck suing me. Try to draw a pail of water from a dry well. But here's the deal, though. Look, allegedly, these guns are going off. I've spent my whole adult life countering people that say, dude, a gun's inherently evil. It has a mind of its own. It can just go off. And you know what I've been saying these whole years was the truth, I thought, but some of this might be changing that now, and it sucks. And I am a little pissed off about it. I've always said a lot of the things probably a lot of you say, like, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Dude, a gun can't just go off on its own. You have to have a knowing, deliberate action of conscientiously pulling the trigger, overcoming the physical safeties that are involved, etc., etc. And it kind of sucks when you've been speaking the truth your whole life to counter all of this misinformation, because these people have been coming for our guns my whole adult life. I bought my first gun when I was 15, 1994. Right around the time that the 10-year assault weapons ban went into effect. And I learned right away, like, whoa, I got my first gun. Oh, wait, now there's restrictions on them? 10-round limits? All these things. It's like, you can't have evil features. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. I'm like, evil feature? What do you mean? Like, did the devil possess my gun? No, it's worse than the devil. It's a foregrip. It's the shoulder thing that goes up. You used to have a thumb hole stock, a butthole stock, we used to call them. Not so affectionately. You guys remember that? You have a butthole stock? And look, all of this, I learned right away. It's like, whoa. I grew up with my dad having guns in the house and was comfortable around guns. And I always consider myself like a gun guy, but you're not really a gun guy until you get your first gun. Dude, it was within like a couple months of me getting my first gun. They were coming after it. And they've had the same old talking points. And yeah, I am a bit frustrated with Sig Sauer, how they're handling this with It Ends Today, just rebuking everybody. Now, I believe if I was a Sig, 320 owner, I'd probably actually even be more mad. But I'm not. But I'm still a bit frustrated and a bit pissed off at this company. Because they're running their mouth, they're acting cocky. I can't prove whether there's anything they need to admit to or not, but at the same time, when they act, the way they act, not a good look. And where we used to be able to tell the truth and say, dude, a gun doesn't just go off on its own. There's been so many videos, and you can be your own judge of that. But in my opinion, by watching numerous videos of them apparently just going off from being jostled, sometimes not even hardly, right? Now, when I find myself in a debate with a anti-gunner, and they're like, guns are just going off and shooting people. I'm like, no, they're not. A gun doesn't do that. These are good people, bad people. What about the SIG? And I'm like, ooh, and I stand corrected. Look, if they can't clean up their act real quick and figure something out, I think we're going to find a bunch of new gun control coming because of this. And if we don't lose out right there in Congress, I think at the very least, but this might be even more important in the end, we're going to start and keep losing in the court of public opinion. So I'm going to get into that in just a little bit here, but I do not want to forget to thank all of you for the many ways you help support the channel. Thank you to all my YouTube channel members, who I do see a ton of you guys in the chat. I basically, for the most part, only see channel members in the chat tonight, actually. So thank you. Those of you who leave super chats, which I will read any that you guys may want to give tonight. Thank you to my Patreon supporters as well as my local supporters, which I am going to be streaming there this weekend, no matter what. And I look forward to seeing all of you there. You can join for free or you can support for more perks. And remember, all of you who leave super chats are channel members, all of the different things. You guys are the sponsors. There's no ad read. I'm not saying this is brought to you by whatever. So I appreciate all of you. And I do want to thank our friend Red, who may be watching on replay. So if you are, what's happening, man? He had left me a Cash App 2 weeks ago now, but I didn't catch it till it was over. Didn't get to thank him last week. So thank you for the generous Cash App, Red, from 2 weeks ago. And then he also left me a generous one last Friday when I didn't even stream and said money towards the lawnmower, and it helped a lot. So thank you, Red. If all my viewers did what he did, then yeah, I would have been able to still do the live stream and not have to worry about the lawnmower so much. But thank you, man. I definitely do appreciate it. And when I'm done ranting about this whole thing that's going on, where everyone's all pissed off and everybody's just being mean-spirited, not everybody. It's not literally everybody, but a lot of people. People will just say, right? I'm actually going to read some comments that viewers left me from last week that did touch my heart, and I appreciate all of you who commented on that video that I put up saying, dude, I'm in rough shape, guys. But back to the whole SIG topic. And I'm using plays on words here. You've got your Sigophants. Okay. Look up Sigophant if you know what I mean. And then, it comes down to certain things where people call them many things. Some people even are calling them Siggers. Siggers, right? So here's the deal. I did a video, oh geez, a month and a half ago now. You know what I mean? On a day called Independence Day, usually the modern preference is just to call it the 4th of July. Yeah, that was the most hated video I did. Boy, oh boy. You want it, guys. You guys want some advice? I'm going to give you advice. Now, you probably shouldn't take my advice because I'm not a successful YouTuber, but hey, I've been doing this a number of years now. You know what I mean? If you have a gun channel, a Second Amendment channel, and you really want to lose a lot of subscribers, get a lot of thumbs downs, do a video reading the Declaration of Independence. It works wonders. You want to thin out the herd, do a nice steep double flush of the old toilet. You know what I'm saying, right? Do a video on the Declaration of Independence. You guys notice, besides doing the video where I talked about my lawnmower being broken down, just to be courteous to all of you, because we look forward to hanging out on Friday nights. I ain't done a standalone regular video on this channel since that video. And I told you guys, well, I might do another one and I might not. And that hasn't changed. I don't know. There's just something about your most hated video you've done all year since last July 4th, you know, is reading the Declaration of Independence. Okay. Well, now we'll go to second and third place if you really want to tank your channel. You'll talk about what I just did a minute ago, how you think this company is turned into a complete dumpster fire. Look, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my last 2 live streams where I literally read that it ends today. Like, that was harsh, dude. Like, people I grew up around and where I come from, that's fighting words, man. You know, they were behind a keyboard, they were behind a screen, but you walk up and talk to regular, normal, hardworking people with, you know, a little bit of calluses on their hands, dirt under their nails. Oh, I lose subscribers every time I show dirt under my nails. There you go. Bye-bye. You'll be back. Dirt under you. No. Type of boys I run with, you walk up and say something like Sig did in that tweet that it ends today. Yeah, you're lucky if you have any teeth left in your mouth. So I call them out for what it is. I'm like, look, dude, you guys need to get your crap straight. And enough's enough. And I'm frustrated with all of it. And I've been very fair and told everybody why. Now, unless literally the person that wrote that tweet or people that are not owning up to it and trying to develop some rapport with the community, unless you guys are like SIG employees. Now, I don't mean rank and file SIG employees. There's probably SIG employees that agree with what I'm saying. I bet you. But my point is, unless you're that, it's like, dude, I wasn't talking to y'all. I wasn't talking to all you all or any of y'all, you know? But I gotten a lot of hate for talking about Sig Sauer in this P320. I'm just like, dude, whatever, dude. Like, you know, whatever. I didn't make these videos. I'm terrible at video editing. I'd have a lot more videos on this channel if I was good at video editing, actually. I'm actually kind of a creative person, and I have ideas where I could do a video a day. A, if there was enough money in this where I could not be out there landscaping all day, every day. But B, if I knew how to edit video. My point is, I didn't make these videos. Some comments I've gotten, some messages I've gotten are to the point where it's like people think that I somehow made these videos where people are shooting themselves in the leg and shooting their you-know-what off. The one guy's wife had to join the lawsuit because he can't do his manly duties anymore, if you know what I mean. Family-friendly channel, but he's half the man he used to be now. I mean, and this is sad, actually. That's a big deal, you know. Blew part of it off. I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Jeez, oh, Pete. And they said, you know what? Yeah, the SIG is a dangerous pistol, the jury said, but you ain't getting a penny because you already knew it was so dangerous. This is a gun that a court has deemed is so dangerous, just inherently physically dangerous. Now, this makes me look like a fool because I've been preaching here the whole time, whether it's to the choir or otherwise. I've been preaching that, dude, a gun's an inanimate object. It's neither good nor evil. And I always try to remind all of you to keep your chin up and argue with people and say, no, actually, there's many more good people who save lives with guns than there are evil people who take many more times, but the government never wants to report on that. It just doesn't fit the narrative. But now I'm the idiot because it's like, well, hold on a minute. In this video, that video, this court account, this jury decision, the gun did just go off. I mean, a guy would really have to be a glutton for punishment to purposely shoot himself. And his, you know what? I don't, come on. Does anyone know a dude that's just going to do that? Of course he didn't. No, the gun allegedly just went off. And they said this gun's so dangerous that you basically got what you had coming to you by even carrying it. And this was his duty pistol. This was his issued pistol. This is like what he has to carry if he wants a job, you know? And it's like, look, I've tried to be as polite as I can about this. All right. But it comes down to this. And again, one more time, I'm not talking about my friends who own SIGs. No, not in a million years. Like, not even probably in a billion years. I can compartmentalize and separate the two. I can say this is a crap company right now. And you can still love the company and we can still be friends if you want to. That's fine with me. Like, I'll still hang out with you. Or it's the whole thing where, dude, I just bought the gun because I loved how it shot. And now all of this sucks. And I feel terrible for all of you that are going through all these struggles because of the reasons that I outlined. That's why I started the stream the way I did. I do understand. I understand what's been going on for hundreds of years. I understand what's been going on for thousands of years. Look, the Bible predicted all of this long ago. And there's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. So trust me, I understand it intrinsically. I just spent about $4,500 on a lawnmower. Boy, that's sure a good idea of fun, right? That's a lot of fun. Laying on your back for a week straight, pretty much. When you're not waiting for parts, you're laying on your back working. The stress of finding the parts is half the battle. And I like Taurus pistols, and I like so many pistols. My true passion is actually milsurps. I like all kinds of brands of guns, though. I like Palmetto State Armory guns a lot. The micro dagger, ooh, that's one of my favorites right now. Like, literally, I'm not even joking. Like, whoa. The Stoger pistols, those are awesome. Dude, like, where do these people come from? Can anyone help me think of that? Where do these people come from? These Siggers. Siggers, another name for a low-down gun owner that owns a Sig. Lacks moral character. Okay? Invest so much of their soul into this inanimate object. Look, man, I've had people rip on brands of guns I like probably 100 times in the last couple of weeks. All over the internet. Of course they do. Like, why not? That's, good. Freedom of speech. Rip on whatever the hell you want. I'm like, dude, I'm too busy freaking trying to get these hydraulic fittings correct and get the air out of this system and overcome this two-piece pulley with a center hub, and it's a nightmare. I'm too worried about that to get mad at anyone. Are you kidding me right now? No. I had people after the last Sig Sauer stream, I did come at me and be like, oh, so you're saying the Sig P226 is a piece of junk? I'm like, no. No, you're not going to gaslight me. I didn't say. Has anyone ever heard me say the Sig P226 is a piece of junk? Have I ever said it goes off on its own? Here's the real quick answer. No, I've never said that. I've never brought the Sig 226, 228, 229 into this. I mentioned the Sig 250 because it was part of the story of why I think that the P320 was failed and flawed from the beginning, in my opinion. I think it was an ad hoc design and not a design from the ground up. And I say in my opinion because the company that says it ends today, from what I understand, likes to sue the snot out of people. If they're willing to sue states that don't allow them to use it, dude, they'll sue anybody, right? But in my opinion, the gun was an ad hoc design rather than a ground up design. And that's In my opinion, it's actually provable. If you look at the 250, I brought it into the mix, but I never said it goes off on its own. I just said, in my opinion, the trigger pull sucks on the Zig 250. I'm not going to apologize for saying that because I'm telling you the truth. Now, if you guys want to know what I think about the Sig 226, if you're butthurt because you love your 226, I've talked about this company, and you have such low reading comprehension, and you have such low brain cells. And look, it ain't my fault if you have immutable traits that don't allow you to be on a full human species level. If you're slightly subspecies, if you're slightly whatever, look, I acknowledged. Now, with that said, I don't give a crap. And you can move the hell on. All right? If me talking about the way this disaster, this situation has been handled by this company with their very nasty tweet, and when I talk about certain aspects of the P320, in my opinion, and you conflate that to 2A EDU is being mean to me because I love my 226, just get out of here. Never come back. I don't care. I'm tired of feminists. All right? I'm tired of a tyrannical government. I'm tired of living in a country where 13% commit 52% of the violent crime. I'm actually getting real tired of that. But you know what pisses me off the most? What's enabling all of this? The reason the whole rest of it exists, the real problem, all the stupid people out there. So I say that to offer encouragement to all of you. Because I know I can't be the only one that's just going through living their life, trying to have a good time, hanging out with friends. And as soon as you're trying to have an intelligent conversation, some barely quasi subspecies that might technically have a birth certificate and fumbles along and just wants to ruin your day. I don't want my day ruined. I want to have fun as much as I can. And I want to call out problems so we can solve them. And I want to have a good time. And I think a lot of you probably feel the same way, if I had to guess. So here's what it comes down to. Anybody who literally is worshiping a brand of firearms so much, bless your heart. If anybody's looking at a gun brand as a deity, a false god, one of the many false gods of their polytheistic whatever, I truly hope you can find God someday. I really do. I ain't going to force you to, but I hope you do. And I ain't going to give your old lady one in the mouth. I ain't going to curse your firstborn. I just have a bone to pick with Sig Sauer right now, you know? And I actually do have opinions on the 226, believe it or not. I'm a pretty well-rounded gun guy. I've been around this a long time. But here's the thing, though. Nobody really knows my opinions on the Sig 226 because nobody ever even asked. Isn't that kind of funny? Now, I don't know how many of you guys hang out on the internet throughout the week, but there's this stuff going on all over the place. And it is what it is, I guess. And I do have brands that I like. And I want to make this clear too, because this is true. It's okay to have brand loyalty. It's okay to like your brand. Like, that's actually cool. If you have a good brand that's been good to go for you, maybe you like your customer service. Okay? Maybe you just kind of like most of the designs of their products. Maybe you like how it looks. That's actually fine. That's awesome. Being brand loyal, it's all good. Brand worship, though, that's something different. It's kind of spooky, actually, isn't it? So, for anybody that still is really pissed off at people that, you know, aren't too happy with this company, quite frankly, at this point, and they're worried about good people getting hurt with the guns, and worried about one of my big concerns too, as I've said before, is a bunch of new gun control getting ushered in. Lots of things, literally tearing down some of my biggest anti-gunner arguments over the years. Like, yeah, it is a little bit of a big deal. You know what I mean? Does anyone know what I mean? I think you do. I think somebody does. Here's the crazy part, though. I think a couple of you do, but like I've watched my viewers drop by like 30 viewers in the last few minutes. And I probably won't even be able to count how many thumbs downs I get on this video. But that's okay, though. Because I haven't lied to any of you. I'm not pulling any punches. And anyone that's like, dude, I never said any of that to you. Why are you going off on me? Well, then you're stupid and you need to leave too. Because what I've actually been doing, and I made it clear, but I've learned often in life nowadays, you have to repeat yourself. And for those of you that I don't need to repeat myself to, just laugh it off, because there's a lot of stupid people around. No, seriously, laugh it off, because you heard me the first time, but a lot of people didn't. Trust me, I know this. I've been reading comments for years on here. You know what I mean? For those of you that's like, dude, 2AE to you, I never went off on you about my love for the 226, and I thought I know, I'm not talking to you, obviously, right? The reason why I'm mentioning this to all of you is I think whether it's this exact topic or other topics, I think maybe a lot of you have dealt with what is going on right now. Where you just give your honest opinion and people get really pissed off at you and you realize that they're actually worshiping some false idol, deity, and it's just a tough thing. And there's just so much of it right now. And I think maybe some of you go through that, maybe on a regular basis, maybe once in a while. And I'm not going through any of this for the haters. I'm actually going through this for all of you that are still watching right now. Because it's in different forms. It might be about a particular gun, but it might be about other things. But at the end of the day, it's all the same. Hurt people like to hurt. And so many people lack so little confidence. And they, quite frankly, ain't playing with a full deck. And they're going to try to take it out on you for just bringing up stuff. So hopefully that actually offers you guys some encouragement, because that's the whole reason I brought any of this up. And it's good to have good people in your back. And it's also good to have the only one who's truly good that has your back. So I'm going to read from something that's inspired me for a long time. It's been inspiring people for a long time, and I hope it inspires you. And then I'm going to read a few chats, and we're going to talk about the lawnmower. And I'm going to read some comments that I got from the last video. And no matter what it is for you right now, or what it's going to be for you in the future, you know, sometimes you take a lot of arrows. Sometimes it lets up, sometimes it waxes, sometimes it wanes. But the only thing we know for certain, if you've read the Bible, is that life is short and it's full of problems. And life is actually but a vapor. It appeareth and it vanisheth away. And you should protect what's good. And if you're good, look, none of us are truly good, obviously. But if you're trying to be good, you're trying to fight the good fight, you're trying to seek redemptions from your sins. We all sin, obviously. Anyone who says they don't sin, watch yourself around that person. Let me tell you what. Watch yourself around that person. But it's okay to ask for a little help sometimes, and it's okay to armor up. That's why I like this set of verses from the good book of Ephesians. Ephesians 6:10 through 18. Finally, my brethren, Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Dude, that's like really, really powerful. That's like so powerful you can't even understand that. If you can be amongst the power of the mightiest, like in the whole universe of all time, that's pretty powerful. I don't think we need to do the 9mm 45 debate anymore when we're talking about the power of his might. Right? Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, and ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And that's actually a very powerful force. Don't ever underestimate the powers of the devil. It's so powerful, you wouldn't even be able to deal with it at all, but for him. But for the Lord. So we're talking about one of the most powerful things that there is, and it's evil, it's cunning, and it's full of deceit. And the devil's extremely powerful. But you've got someone that's a whole lot more powerful than that on your side if you want to. If you ask. See, here's the thing. People make some things like so complicated. Sometimes you just have to ask. Right? Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. It's like really profound if you think about it. It's so true. Like, does anyone disagree with me? Like, that line is so true. I'm going to read it again, just because I really enjoy reading this a lot, actually. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand, therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. This is beautiful. And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. All of them. If you have on the armor of God. And there's like a lot of darts, though. There really are. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. They're talking about the Second Amendment right here. But they're not talking about the Second Amendment, obviously. No, the Founding Fathers, when they wrote the Second Amendment, were talking about this. These were very learned men of the Bible. They were very learned men of past republics and empires and fallen empires. They remember when Jesus told his disciples, at the very end of his life, sold up a river by one of his own for a few pieces of silver. Just think about that. And he basically told them, he said, I'm going to die soon. He'd be back in a couple days, right? He is risen. Not he was risen, he is risen, but he told him, he said, take up a sword. What if I can't afford a sword? Sell your cloak and buy a sword. And here's something else I'm sick and tired of. Now, some of you are Christians, some of you aren't. I'm just talking to my Christian friends right now. Those of you who are wondering, those of you that are thinking about it, those of you who are looking for something, I encourage you to read. I encourage you to keep thinking about it. But But look, here's another thing I'm getting sick and tired of. It's frustrating me. Why is it that everybody says that a Christian is supposed to be just such a pacifist? That you're just supposed to live and let live no matter what? And no matter how much sin's around you and how much people are doing stuff to completely tear down all the fundamentals of anything that's even close to righteousness on this earth. And trust me, nothing in this earth is righteous. But when people are just trying to do their best and they're condemned, when white people are condemned for the color of their skin, when Americans who love the United States Constitution are condemned, maybe it comes down to as simple as you're just supposed to be a decent person and they're doing everything that they can to try to stop you and to get you to just go along. You know, I see all these churches with rainbow flags, and I'd like to think it's because they're talking about the story of Noah's Ark, and they're talking about the promise from God that, look, Jesus is coming back, but there's a covenant that he's not going to flood the earth, the whole earth again. You know, the rainbow is a very beautiful thing, aesthetically pleasing, and it's also a beautiful thing because it talks about a promise, and it talks about giving the world a second chance. So you, like literally you, if you're listening, if you're already not, that you may be saved. You may have a chance of being saved if you just ask. And you try. And you truly seek forgiveness. You know, the rainbow's always been a very symbolic thing. And now things that are completely antithetical to the Bible. Completely and utterly. Where the Bible literally, in no uncertain terms, says a man's not supposed to lie with a man and a woman's not supposed to lie with a woman. The Bible talks about that. But now we're supposed to accept all of this in the church. And I'm not talking to people that don't go to church. I'm not talking to people that aren't Christians right now. I'm just talking to all my Christian friends that, why is it that we have to be so weak and so feckless? I believe God's the only judge. I don't have the ability to judge somebody's soul, but I do have the ability to use my own reason and logic to say something ain't right here. You're supposed to be such a pacifist. And you're supposed to be such a, oh gosh, oh no, we can't upset the, oh really? Then I guess they need to read the verse of Jesus overturning the tables at the synagogues for the money counters, don't we? And then you look at where we're at right now in so many ways, and who the heck's even running this country's foreign policy. And oh, you do start to think about the money counters at the synagogues, don't you, actually? Well, the reason I got off into that little rant is because it says, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. The sword. Not a mostly peaceful sword, no. The sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. If anyone hasn't noticed or hasn't read the same Bible I've read, God is the fighting kind. Fighting to win the battle of good versus evil. You can't fight if you're a Christian. You can't fight for what's right. Oh, really? Then what God are you worshiping? Because my God's definitely the fighting kind. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Now, look, man, if you've got the full armor of God, and I hope some of you can, pass this on as word of encouragement to some of your friends, because a lot of people do know that we have a fight right now. Obviously. And people kind of do understand, I think, for the most part. And I'm pretty sure all of you get what's going on here. But I'm talking about your friends, your coworkers, people who might, they're just kind of wondering about things right now. And they wonder, like, dude, we know something's wrong here, and we know we've got a fight on our hands, but we don't know exactly what it is. And I think verse 12 it sums it up. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And you know, you on the surface, you kind of think you do, though. I mean, you're like, dude, it's this person, and maybe me and him are going to have to go out back, you know. But then you think about wars where, you know, bloody and bloodshed and loss of life. And, you know, then you think about things that you don't even want to think about, like a nuke. Like, what if somebody drops the bomb? And then you think about famine. And then you think about the fact that they're like poisoning all of our food and selling it to us totally legally. And just all these things that are against us. And you're like, man, it's like us versus like this bad person. And it kind of is on the surface, but it's really not. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Like powers, like with emphasis, because very powerful things that we wrestle against. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that is actually what we fight against. We need to fight. And I think that's why we're all big fans of the Second Amendment, because we are the fighting kind, right? I'm glad that the Founding Fathers were divinely inspired by God, as they literally said so, as they declared. And I'm glad to see so many people fighting the good fight. Because as much as there's doom and gloom in this world, there is a lot of encouragement too. And it's encouraging to see in people like, no, I'm sick of all this. I'm a white Christian straight male that hates my government but loves my country, and I ain't going to apologize anymore. And every time I hear people say that, it puts a little smile on my face. You know what I mean? All right, let's take a look at this chat here. And then I'm going to read some comments from you guys. And if there's any time, well, answer a few questions. Kurt24, what's happening, Kurt? How you doing, man? Member for 37 months. Wow, that's a long time, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it. And he's been even a longer supporter than that on Locals. Thank you, Kurt. Hopefully I'll see you over on Locals this weekend. And if not, you know, maybe you'll catch the replay. Because I'll tell you guys, here's a little teaser for Locals, Kurt. Kurt opened the door. Hold on a minute. Kurt opened the door. I'm going to show you guys a teaser because we have some cool stuff to show on Locals this weekend. Okay, you guys didn't. Those of you that stayed for the second half get to see the... See, Kurt, today we're going to unbox... Now, that's just some extra... That's just some extra line for the hose that I'm going to return because I didn't go into that container. Oh, I'm so tired of looking at hoses and fittings and pulleys. Oh, now this has some cool stuff in it. Okay, you know what I mean, Kurt? Stuff you guys might like. Here's the problem, though, dude. We can't really open this up here on YouTube, if you know what I mean. The ghost of Susan Wiki, she might not like it so much. She'll like it a little bit, but here's the problem. She'll still come after the channel. Now, that's tough, isn't it? When she likes you so much, she still comes after you? The former CEO of YouTube. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I guess it's not my fault that she had a crush on me. DLD After Dark. What's happening, man? How you doing? Thank you for the super chat. How you doing, DLD? Are you still hanging out? He says, where beard? Where's the beard? Oh, I want to shave the sides and everything and just stick with the mustache, but I've been... Dude, it's been a tough week and a half, guys. I'll tell you about the mower in just a second. It's been a tough week and a half, to say the least. G23, what's happening, G23? How you doing, man? Now with G23, well, you can watch his channel if you want to know really what he's into. But I wonder, is he into the Sig model G23 primarily, or what brand makes the C23? I'm trying to play dumb, but I can't even do it with a straight face. What's happening, man? How you doing? But I think G23 actually likes some of the Sigs too, though. Actually, that's the funny part. G23. I know it's not chambered in 40 cal, but maybe someone can tell me what it's chambered in. He says, with a generous $10 super chat. Thanks, man. He says, get the wife and daughter a coffee or hot cocoa. I'm not going anywhere, brother. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate that, man. Yeah. They might be in bed already, but I will definitely let my two pretties know that you hooked them up. And then thanks, man. They do appreciate that. They might both get coffee, too. My daughter's kind of always had a taste for coffee. Have I told you guys this story yet? Look, I've already probably lost half my subscribers tonight. But hold on. Here's the cool thing. The guys that are still here, you guys are my friends. So we're going to just, I don't know, we're just going to hang out as friends because that's like really the only reason I want to be on here tonight anyways. I'll give you a quick story. So she's 13 years old now. Wow, time flies. My daughter. She actually started off life drinking a little bit of coffee. So she was born premature. And when I say premature, like a lot premature. I won't drag the story on too long, but I will just tell you guys this. And you probably know this story, G23, already. But if you guys are like, dude, you let your baby drink coffee? Actually, she kind of started off life on coffee for medical reasons. So 2 pounds, 3 ounces. And when people say there's no such thing as a miracle, you know what I mean? Now, look, I'm not going to force everyone to believe there's miracles, but yeah. Someone would literally have to kill me because it's impossible that I would ever say there's no such thing as a miracle. 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Beautiful 13-year-old. Excellent health. Excellent. Look, I'm going to be a little biased. Daddy's going to be biased here. Perfect in every way. Daddy's little girl. You guys know what I mean. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Okay. 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Here's my wedding ring. Same one that I have. Same one that I had then. Only been married once. So this exact ring here, she was conceived on our wedding night. I'm serious. I don't know if my wife's watching. She goes to bed early. Conceived on our wedding night. So I was wearing my ring. She's born 2 pounds, 3 ounces. One of the nurses takes her out of the incubator. You could only hold her for little short spurts at a time because she needed her whole little climate-controlled terrarium thing with the blue lights to keep her from jaundice, I think it's called, and heart monitor and lung breathing and all this. Took a picture of her with this ring. I think it's like a size 10 ring or something. I think that's right. I can't remember. There's a picture of it with her all the way over her arm, all the way up to her shoulder. So her whole entire arm, including wrist and elbow, fit through this. Well, seriously, she's totally fine. But not so much when she's first born. It's a little sketchy. Babies that haven't learned, like their body hasn't learned per se. Now, you do it all subliminally, but the brain had it developed in utero enough for her to subconsciously, for her subconscious, whatever you want to call it. There's a medical word for it, anatomical or something. You guys, all my doctor friends in the chat, chime in. I can't think of the word, so throw me a bone. But your things that just happen on its own. Like you don't have to tell yourself for your heart to beat. Okay? Well, they kind of have to be reminded sometimes to breathe and for their heart to beat. So there's monitors and whatever. Well, just the alarm going off usually startles them enough, and then they kind of wake up and their heart starts beating again. Have you guys ever heard of this? It's called a bradycardia. Well, believe it or not, one of the most successful things to help with that when they're born premature and all the systems haven't developed all the way in utero where they're supplied everything they need through the umbilical cord, which is why women are so valuable. Look, they're not valuable in politics. They shouldn't be in it. Dude, but women are extremely valuable because they can literally nurture every aspect of a baby inside their body via the umbilical cord. Well, there's no more umbilical cord. They forget to breathe. They forget for their heart to beat. This is actually common for babies this premature. And they started off giving her caffeine. Of all things, just regular old simple caffeine helps with all of this. So as she finally comes home, and we still have her on a heart monitor at that point, after being in the NICU, it's called, the Infant Intensive Care Unit, is essentially what that means. For a couple months, she's still home with a heart monitor and stuff. And they're like, yeah, like, here's the caffeine that you'll give her. And there was a certain like prescription caffeine. And then we're like, dude, can we just give her coffee? And they're like, yeah. So actually my little girl started off as a newborn baby drinking caffeine. And of all the drugs that are out there, I'd probably rather have her on that than almost anything else. So there's my long story short of why my daughter's always been essentially a coffee drinker since she was born. Gort, what's happening, man? How you doing? Channel member and a member for 48 months. Wow. Him and Kurt, dude. You guys have been around a long time, man. Thank you, Gort. I appreciate you, dude. He says, not going anywhere. Well, I appreciate that. Nice to see you. Nice to see you for all these years. That's 4 years, Gort, really? Isn't it? 12, 24, 36, 48. Now, I could do it in my head. You know I could do that math in my head, Gort. I'm just trying to relate to some of the sub levels that like to be mean to me on here just so I can relate to them. Sometimes to be relatable, you got to count on your fingers just a little bit. You know what I mean? Gort's laughing. He knows what I'm getting at right now. No, that's 4 years. Thanks, man. Jalapeno prepper. Now, he shows peppers, but, well, dude, I like preppers and jalapeno peppers with a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude. He says, I truly appreciate your channel and your style. Do you like my beard today too, though? I want to shave it off. I really did enjoy having the mustache for about a week, but the thing, DLD, I think, ripped on my beard, but you like my style, so thanks, man. He says, you constantly encourage our thoughts rather than telling us what to think. Well, thank you, man. I just, I don't know. Look, I don't have a lot of friends around town just because I'm busy. But this is stuff that me and, like, you could say my around town friends talk about, really, though. Actually, friends on the phone, stuff like that. So when I get on here, I'm just hanging out with friends talking about stuff that I think's important, and maybe some of you do. So thanks, man. I appreciate your encouragement. I really do. Ace Diamond, what's happening, man? We got a Red Wings fan in the house. The Detroit Red Wings. Man, I used to watch a lot of hockey back in the day, dude. With a generous $10 super chat and a channel member. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude. He says, thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, and you're most certainly welcome. So I got to get, This is good, though. Look, G23. Ladies first when it comes to buying them a coffee and a cocoa, for sure. Like, definitely. Contrary to what I was saying earlier, I don't hate women in every way. I just don't like it that we have this messed up wage situation because the government and the workforce. But ladies first with the coffee here. You guys see where I'm heading with this? Because that's what the man of the house should do. And when somebody throws the channel a little sponsorship, well, we'll take care of the beautiful ladies at home. But now here's the thing, though. Daddy gets a cup of coffee now. Ace Diamond just hooked me up with the coffee there. So thanks, man. Rescued Nut. What's happening, dude? Now here's the thing, guys. Are you guys watching? Because some of you just listen. Just take a peek, okay, at the screen. Because if not, it's going to go over someone's head. They're going to be like, 2-8 EDU, you were so nice. I bet you I get a comment from somebody that's like, 2-8 EDU. I liked your stream tonight. I liked it a lot, but, the famous last words. You guys know what I mean. Like, I love the stream tonight in every way, 2-8 EDU, but. Then I'm like, oh, boy. They soften you up just so they can, right? They're softening me up. I love your stream in every way tonight. 280 you, Calvin, but you were just too nice. Somebody's going to say that. You were too nice tonight. That's actually why I get ridiculed the most, believe it or not. 280 you were too nice. You took it too easy on the SIG. So now that I got everyone's attention, He says, because you're blessed, brother. Well, thank you, man. And God bless you. And I appreciate your super chat. And I appreciate you being a channel member. And I like this rescue nut. But here's the thing. Just between you and me, guys, don't tell him this because I like him a lot. I like your rescue nut. And I'll plug your ears. Here's the thing. I like rescue nut a lot. But between you and me, he's a bit squirrely. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat tonight. Let's see what you guys are up to here. Oh, there he is. What's happening, dude? Midwest Logger says, right wheel motor is out on my 26-year-old Grasshopper. After hearing you, I don't want to deal with it. Oh, dude, man, that sucks. Here's the problem, Midwest Logger. It's big money. I'm gonna read a few of these chats while or not chats. Well, look, I want to read two things at once. And look, I'm annoyed with like really stupid, mean people. But here's the problem. I might not be stupid, but I never said I was that smart. I'm going to try to read the chat while I read some comments from last week because I know this is going to sound corny, but I don't care. Like, whatever. If it's corny, then go eat yourself canned corn. You know, it did mean a lot to me. I sat there as they were coming in on my phone and read all of your comments about that lawnmower. And that's a big deal, man. When you own a lawn service and your main machine breaks down, and my backup had been broken down for a while, I have to get that fixed too. And it's just tough to make a go of things right now. You know, the economy sucks. In the state of Michigan, it's real, real bad. I think who lives in Michigan? Tell me if I'm exaggerating. In Michigan, it's pretty tough right now. Okay, but no, man, you guys left me some awesome comments. So I want to read the chat, right? What's happening, DLD After Dark? DLD says, dude, I actually just love 2A EDU's beard no matter how long it is, no matter how short it is. He even said I'm a handsome guy. So what can I say? Shout out to the DLD After Dark channel. What's happening, man? What's up, Pillbox Bunker? How you doing, man? Pillbox Bunker's a good-looking dude with a nice beard. His beard's a lot better than mine, actually, guys. Just don't tell him I said that because I don't want him to get cocky, but Pillbox Bunker's beard is actually nicer than mine. Like, well, a lot of you guys have hung out with Pillbox in real life at his house. You guys can chime in on that. Okay, so all of you guys that know us both, whose beard's better, mine or Pillbox? I can take it. Just tell the truth. You know what I mean? What's up, Drew in Oregon? How you doing, man? I'm gonna read the chat real quick. I'm like totally all over the place right now. I want to read the chat for a minute, and then I'm gonna read some of these comments and show you guys some pictures of a lawnmower. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Like, what else would you possibly want to do on a Friday night? I wouldn't want to do anything else. Harry Grimley, what's happening, dude? Says Dominion. That depends on what your definition of is. Ooh, that's the old Slick Willie. William Jefferson Clinton. Wow. What's up, yellow boy? Dude, I like CZs too, man. I do like a CZ. Dude, there's a CZ clone, basically, all metal gun for like $249 right now. Make sure you guys are checking out my locals deals. Milsurps are back. Like, there's been tons of like old cool Milsurp stuff coming in. Dude, it is like such a buyer's market. We're going to show you guys some really cool stuff. And there's like really good deals on stuff. We're definitely doing that on locals this weekend. So check that out, like, for sure. What's up, Fat Gray Man? How you doing? Bad Monkey, no banana. I like that. How's it going, man? Did anyone get my joke about rescue nut? Did anyone? You know what I'm saying? I said he's a bit of a squirrel, you know, he's a bit squirrely. Don't tell him I said that because I do like the guy, you know, he's just a bit squirrely. What's up, Jeffrey Harrison? How you doing, man? Oh, I listen to a lot of YouTube when I'm cutting my lawns and doing power washing and all this stuff. Oh, yeah. Amen. Damian Christian. What's happening, dude? How you doing, man? Are you from Michigan? I don't just assume you are, and just tell me how wrong I am, and you know, everyone join in and make fun of me. You look like a Michigan guy. I don't know why. Sometimes you can just kind of tell. I'm probably wrong. Okay, hold on a minute. What's up, Dale? How you doing, Dale? Hold on a minute. Hold on. Pillbox says seniority. All right, 1 vote for Pillbox. Okay, you're not. You're not. Well, shout out to New Mexico. See, I was wrong. Now everyone else make fun of me. Do you hang out with Vince Metzger? He's from New Mexico. Regular of the channel. I think I saw Vince in here a minute ago. Look, here's the thing, though. Like I just assume, like, you guys are from the same state. You must know each other, right? I mean, everybody knows everybody in Michigan and New Mexico. No, I meant that as a compliment, man. I did. He's not from Michigan. Oh, there he is. See, look, I just predict this stuff. Vince Metzger. Yeah, so they definitely know each other because everyone in each state knows each other, right? Dude, this actually happens to me all the time. Someone will be like, you're from Michigan. Do you know so-and-so? Do you know Tom Smith? And I'm like, maybe about 5 or 10 people with that name. No, he's in Michigan. I'm like, well, of course I know him. I know all 10 million people. I mean, come on. I even know Lori Pohutsky. Ooh, wow. Ooh. I can't believe I said that out loud. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Randy Smith says, uh-oh, dad joke. I know. Look, you have to. I mean, what's up? New York Outcast. Glock guy. Here's the thing, dude. I like a guy that has the word. If you're an outcast in New York, you're probably all right. Now, there's some good people in New York, actually. Hold on a minute. I just got to look at this real quick. Dolly Madison's dad. Involuntary. That's a good word for it. Yes. Gort autonomic. There you go. Thank you. So I'm struggling for any words, and you guys helping me with that. Thank you. The involuntary or autonomic response of, yeah. So gave her coffee like as a medication. Toy Town Inc. What's happening, man? It's been a rough week and a half. I just finished yesterday. It was in Thursday, finishing my last lawn from last week. My mower broke down. It's a grind. Yes. Hold on. I got to see who had the better beard because I saw somebody else voted. Oh, man. I thought we were friends, dude. I mean, I appreciate you buying me the coffee earlier. My Red Wings fan friend. But he said, sorry, EDU, but Pillbox gets the beer win. Dang it. I'm starting to suffer from low confidence. And look at this. This is funny. I like this. Pillbox, I won by a quote hair. Dude, that's good. I like that one. Oh, man. My confidence was like right through the floor, and then Pillbox said that. That's seriously funny. I like this stuff. Oh, man. I said I thought maybe I saw Vince Metzger. I definitely did. There he is, throwing down a 762 super chat. Well, thank you, Vince. I appreciate you, man. He says, cheers, 2A EDU. Thanks for the good info and the good laughs. Well, I mean, Pillbox just won the best beard by a hair. Whew. That's all right. I'm going to shave it off and just go straight mustache for the next stream. You wait and see. I got an answer for old boy Vince. We'll get him in the end. Pillbox isn't the kind of guy you really want to mess with. You know what I'm saying, Mateo? I wouldn't mess with him, but we're going to get him in the end here. We're going to get old boy. Now I'm getting excited. I'm like, we're going to get him. We're going to come in, and next week I'm going to come in like, you know. Where's 2A EDU? You can't even see me. It's like, dude, he just came in and annihilated Pillbox Bunker. Like to the max. I'll get him. You guys wait and see. What's happening, Lone Wolf? How you doing, man? Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll have one friend left by the time this is said and done. No, I know, Fat Gray, man. No, New York's based as long as you get out of the cities. Absolutely. Does anyone watch the South Main Auto channel? SMA? South Main Auto? Dude, that's like literally probably, if it's not my favorite YouTube channel, it's literally in my top 3. And he's in New York, upstate New York, like in the mountains, and he's actually cool as heck. So let me know. It's like a really big auto mechanics channel. What's up, Harry Bremley? No, dude, no. Like, I am very blessed and lucky. You're correct. He says, how could you suffer from low confidence? Look at all the friends you have. That and family's all you need. No, like, completely. Here's the problem, though. Pillbox just unanimously beat me on the best beard, so I'm going to get old boy here. We're going to, before you know it, you're going to see what's going to happen. Me and Pillbox are going to be out there like this, you know. I'll come in blocking, and then I'm going to come back with a big old black eye. And let's put it this way. I ain't going to, like, look, come on. I'm not going to completely, you know, wuss out on this. If I had to, I might be able to take him, but I don't want to fight him. You know, there's just guys like that. You wouldn't want to fight him. I don't want to fight him. Let's just leave it at that. Oh, some of you guys do watch it. What's up, DB Cooper? How you doing, man? Yeah. Do pay-per-view. Maybe we can fund this channel after all. Hold on a minute. I like this. People would pay for this. All right. I'm going to share my screen here, read a few things. I was a few minutes later than I want to be tonight because StreamYard, the program I use to broadcast this, yeah. They did an update in the last 2 weeks since I've been live. Like, how you can't even make this up. So I have to learn how to share my screen again. All right. So I did a quick video. Let me tell you what happened real quick. Wife was out cutting one of the lawns we do almost 2 weeks ago now. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that. And she's like 99% done with it. And I get a call. She's like, the wheel of the mower locked up. Yeah. Midbus Logger knows what I mean. Maybe some of you guys know what I mean. It locked up. It ain't the brakes. It ain't a stick in the old spoke. I mean, the old stick in the spoke can get you too in more ways than one, but it ain't the stick in the spoke. It's locked up. I'm like, well, it could be several things. Dead in the water, can't finish cutting grass. All right. So I hurry up and get there as quick as I can, scrambling. And yeah, it won't move. And I can't even start the engine. And I'm like, dude, there's no way this engine's blown. Like, there's no way. I checked my oil. You know, just did a valve adjustment on it a couple months back. You know, spark plugs. Nah. Engine won't even start. Just clunk, 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 clunk. Like, not even trying. Not a sputter. It's just like, whoa. Here's how it works. In the back of the mower. Let me see if I can pull this up just for a little reference, and then I'll read these comments here. Yeah. Pardon me. I'm just this program literally updated while I'm in the middle of okay. All right. We're looking at the back right now. You can see in the middle, that's your blade clutch. All right. This particular mower it has a horizontal shaft engine, and the main shaft, the main crankshaft, output shaft, whatever you want to call it, comes out of the back, and then it ends right in the middle there. You see how I have that little, like, whatever you want to call it, door that's down on the back, the hood we could call it, whatever. And then it has a belt that goes down, powers another belt, and it actually has a drive shaft that transfers the power from the rear of the machine up to the deck. Then the deck has one belt to power the 3 spindles, 3 blades, 61 inch. But in the back here, this is what runs your hydro pumps. So you can't see it because the blade clutch is blocking it, but there's actually a pulley behind that, like inboard of it. And then there's two pulleys on the left and right. And there's one serpentine type belt that hooks to those. 3 belts total in the back, right? And it powers the hydraulic pumps. So the pumps are getting powered off of a pulley system that's connected to the output shaft of the engine. So in this case, with this mower, the blades only engage when you engage them and disengage them using the switch. Good night, Agorizer. Take it easy, man. And then the pumps are always running. So the way a zero-turn mower such as this runs is it runs on a hydro pump and a wheel motor. There is no gear-to-gear transmission. There's no belt running to each wheel. No, the belts from the engine power these pumps that build up pressure. And there's a high-pressure circuit on the bottom of the pump that goes to the wheel motor. And it can flow in one way or the other, and that's why you have forward and reverse. And the cool thing about a zero-turn, as many of you know, because I know a lot of you own them even if you're not in the lawn service business. There's commercial machines such as this. This exact machine today with taxes, fees, basically out the door, close to $20,000 to buy an exact replacement of this mower today. $19,400 or so to be exact. But you understand the principle that you can have both wheels going forward, both back. One can actually be going forward while the other's going backwards, right? This is hydraulics. It's a hydraulically driven mower. So what happened is the pump on the left side completely seized. And I was able to troubleshoot it very quickly. Basically jacked up the mower. Tried to turn the wheel on the left. Completely locked. The one on the right, it would turn. But the engine wouldn't even crank over. And you can't drive a zero-turn mower with only one wheel going, because if you in theory could, you just spin around in circles. But you can't because it was seized. Engine wouldn't start, engine wouldn't run. So I take the belt off. Now that's isolating things. Go to start the engine starts immediately, runs just fine. So, no blown motor. Now, here's the crazy part, though. A blown engine would have been cheaper and less labor intensive than the job I did. I know you're probably not going to believe me, but these hydraulic parts are so expensive and very labor intensive, partially just due to it is what it is, but whatever. Now, the engine's still very expensive, about $2,500 to $2,600 plus shipping and tax, say $3,000 for an engine. It's a 35 horse Briggs Vanguard. But like, believe it or not, a bit easier to change than all the hydraulics. Does that make sense? So I take the belt off. Now I'm isolating and I try to turn that pulley on the left. Locked up tight as a drum. I'm like, dang it. That's a wheel motor. It's catastrophically failed. Then I start to do further troubleshooting and I'm looking in the hydraulic fluid tank. It just looks like glitter, complete sparkles. Well, that's metal. There's aluminum and or steel that can disintegrate in there because there's plenty of both. And then I take the hydraulic filter off because this has a spin-on hydraulic filter for the system. And there's chunks of metal, like enough to fill up the whole like palm of my hand, like a nice big, couple ounces of steel. Yeah. A good friend of mine, make a long story short, been friends since kindergarten. He was my business partner at one time, but I took over the business on my own many years ago now. He told me years ago, after me and him kind of went our separate ways, not in a bad way, just went our separate ways, like in a totally cool way. And I just saw him a couple days ago. Don't hang out like we used to, but we're still good friends. He kind of started his own lawn service after I did, not competing with each other. He was across another area where I didn't mow, vice versa, whatever. And he had a hydraulic pump go out catastrophically on him, and he just changed the side that was bad. And I put this in my memory bank because he told me this story probably 8-9 years ago. He goes, dude, if it goes and you see filings of metal throughout, you've got to do it all over again because here's the problem. Now you got metal contamination. What happened to him, and I learned my lesson, I couldn't fool around here. Once you've done that, like part of the system's isolated between the two, but they still share the same There's the coolers, which isolates it, but then at the end of the day, they still share the same hydraulic fluid reservoir. So I'm seeing sparklies over on the other side. Well, here's what he did. He replaced the bad side. A week later, the other side went out because it had already been contaminated with metal. And then when it went out, it shoved a bunch of crap over to the good side and ruined the side he had just replaced. So I'm not saying you always have to replace all 4 main items and all of your lines and flush your and cooler and flush your reservoir. But if it catastrophically goes down where your whole oil just looks like glitter, you guys know what I'm talking about? Take oil that's kind of a brownish color because the oil got smoked too in the process. I had just changed my oil 2 months earlier. I was very regular and still am. I've always been very regular on maintenance. Keep that in mind. And when it literally looks like you had oil and just dumped a whole thing of glitter into it, that's not good. That's bad. And yeah, now you get to do them 3 times. Don't be splitting hairs. Jeez, Billbox. Man, Billbox is making me laugh tonight. So 35 horses a lot, DB Cooper, except for this year, grass never stopped. Those of you that live somewhere around I do know what I mean. You never had your lawn burn out where you could skip a week this year, did you guys? Now, maybe you did skip a week, but you know you shouldn't have. And you're making hay rows the next week. When grass is growing like a foot tall and it's raining and it's wet, 35 horse is insane, but you want more. I wish it was 40 or 50 on some weeks. Not even going to lie, man. So anyways, so that's why I ended up having to replace both wheel motors, both hydraulic pumps. So I start off with, all right, I got to get parts. And here's the thing. The mower had like 2,651 hours on it. It's a decent amount of hours. But the rest of the machine's still in pretty good shape because keep in mind, I've replaced the belts, a bunch of times. I replaced some small parts here and there, but I do maintain the mower. I replace a small part when it needs it and don't let one part failing, making everything domino effect. I keep up on it. Very high quality grease. I grease everything often. I change my oil in the engine and the filter twice as much as the manual says. I change my hydraulic fluid twice as much as what it says. There's a gearbox for that drive shaft that goes from the back to the deck. I change that twice as much as they say. So yeah, I maintenance it because I do believe an ounce of prevention can take care of a pound of cure. I know a lot of you are the same way with your guns, with your cars, with your lawnmowers, with your whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to discount it and say maintenance is cheap. No. It still costs, like, depending if I'm doing belts or not, it still costs $100 and something, just $100 and a half just to do the blades and all the other maintenance, doing it myself. If I'm bringing belts into the equation, the one belt's over 100. The other belt is about $100 and a half. The other one's about $70, and the other belt's only around $40. So if you're doing belts too, that could be $1,000 maintenance, but you don't do belts every maintenance. So maintenance isn't cheap, but it's still cheaper than, keep in mind, this mower, if I had to buy it today, is $19,400. I bought it for $10,500 plus fees and taxes. I probably had about, 11,000 something into it 12 years ago. So that goes right back to what I was saying earlier. Think about this. From 2012 to 2025, the mower has approximately doubled. Have your wages doubled? No, probably not. The price to mow a lawn or the price per hour or acre, however you price it, has not doubled. Just getting tougher every year, right? Now, the guns are totally different. Right now with guns, ammo, all this, it's a complete buyer's market. Make sure you guys are checking out my locals, my X, and my stream tomorrow night, because we're going to have a good time talking about how, like, that's a total buyer's market. So, like, guns and ammo, they're tanking right now. They're, like, at, 5-6 year lows, in some cases 10-year lows. But besides that, that's a whole nother thing, which is good. I'm happy about that. Things like this just keep going up in price. All right, so it starts off, I have to source parts. Now, keep in mind, this is going to sound terrible, but mower goes down on a Sunday. I can't buy and even source parts on a Sunday for the most part. Now, online, but they're not going to ship it like that day. So I'm doing a little bit of online and as much local as I can. I wanted to buy everything local, couldn't find everything local. I had to do both. Now keep in mind, Monday I have scheduled to get a crown on my tooth that I can't reschedule. Now you can't even make this up. Why can't I reschedule this crown? Well, I'd had an appointment to get it done about a month before this. And even with my insurance, I have dental insurance that I pay for out of my own pocket, that I'm self-employed. So I have Delta Dental that I personally pay for per month. And even with insurance, the crown is like $600 and something. It costs more than that. If you've got a crown on your tooth and paid cash, you know. But even with insurance, my portion of it's like around $600. I didn't have the $600 a month earlier. So I called and postponed it, and you're allowed to cancel once, but if you cancel twice or reschedule, you get a fee for canceling. And I understand, and my dentist is an awesome dude. Like, I totally like the guy, consider him a friend of mine. We met through a mutual customer. I've stained his deck before, done power washing, I've done some repairs. So like, me and this dude have a great relationship, business-wise, and I think he's an awesome dude. So I don't want to screw my dentist over. So I had to cancel reschedule my appointment a month early because I didn't have the money for the crown. Finally saved up that money, and then my mower breaks down the day before. So I did get the crown put on my tooth. I needed to. If not, it would have turned into like a root canal, and then it would have been thousands of more dollars. So when I tell you guys earlier, like, I understand that, like, we're all just fighting to get by right now. Just we shouldn't be mean to each other about it. But the whole thing, it's like, trust me, dude. So I'm rescheduling my dentist appointment because I couldn't afford it, but I needed to get it done. And I had the money saved up. So then Monday I have to go to the dentist and get a crown. Luckily, they do crowns while you wait because they have a CNC machine there. And it's like an all-day affair. It's like a 5-hour appointment. So meanwhile, that morning before the dentist appointment, I call up a place in a small town called Lennon, Michigan. Has anyone heard of it? And they had 2 Hydro Gear hydraulic pumps. They're called Hydro Gear. In fact, the one is the PR-2HBC-GY1E-XXX, and the other's the same, but it's the 2JBC. So you have the part numbers here still. This small little town of Lennon, Michigan, beautiful area, by the way. Nice, super nice area. It was only about 30 minutes from my dentist and 45 minutes from my shop. So I drove the old triangle. Now I've got the 2 hydraulic pumps in my hand. Gave me an excellent price for what they cost, but that's about $1,500. So plus tax, you're at about 16 right there. So I buy those. Keep in mind, I had to save up an extra month to get my crown done. So there's that and then that. Now I need wheel motors. Nobody has those in stock. It's going to be a couple days. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I did what a desperate man has to in this day and age, and I went on Amazon and bought 2, actually OEM. So those are Parker brand, if that sounds familiar to some of you. Made in the USA. This is all OEM branded stuff I'm putting on here. I'm not going to fool around. I can't do it. I can't put a Jang Dong or a Kung Pao brand wheel motor on there. You just can't do it. I mean, are you stupid kind of thing? I'm thinking to myself, no, I had to buy OEM brand because you just can't take that risk. This is your livelihood. This is how you feed your family, right? So I'm sitting there. Oh, geez. What's up, Horsepower Greed? How you doing, man? Geez, you guys are funny tonight. Good thing you're not a liberal. I'm glad that you're not. Trust me. But anyway, so those are like $725 plus tax, but I can get them next day through Amazon Prime. Look, I hate Amazon, and that's why we're all so miserable because we're forced to. But sometimes you got to do it. What else can you do? Like, nobody around town. Amazon ran all the small businesses out of town. You guys follow me with this? Amazon ran all the small businesses around town. Now it's hard to find crap, so then you get stuck buying on Amazon. Oh, yeah, you're just circling toilet bowl, and you hate every minute of it, but what you going to do? So I buy those. With tax and all that, that's over $1,500. Bam. Then I go to another small place called Dixon's, and they're in Livonia, Michigan, for example. My shop's not in Livonia, but it's within driving distance. And there, my wife goes up and helps. She actually came and helped me all day one day. She's not a mechanic, and I'm not a mechanic by trade, but she was helpful, and she really was. Moral support, and then she went and made a parts run there. Now we're talking 4 new high-pressure hydraulic hoses. Those are a little bit over $100 a piece. The pulleys, 2-piece pulley, SOB to get that off. One of them I got off the proper way. The other I had to destroy it. So she goes and gets another pulley and a hub. A couple more small items that were disposable that I had to change. And now we're talking another $500 there. Couldn't flush the cooler out confidently because we kept shaking it like a baby rattle and metal just kept coming and coming. And it's not one of those coolers where you can see the 2 tubes with just the heat sink fins. It goes to an in and an out on each side, and then it just goes into this honeycomb. And you can never be completely confident you got all the metal out. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about, but I won't dwell on it. It's a bit esoteric. So I ended up buying new coolers because I just couldn't get the confidence that all the metal was out of it. Flushed everything out, and then all my soft lines. So there's lines that's for the cooling circuit of these pumps, and then there's lines that are for the filtration circuit of these pumps. Then there's the high pressure. I buy all new soft lines. You've got fittings all over the joint. Okay. It doesn't sound right, but go look up parts. There's this other little custom soft hose you have to buy because of the elbow. Blah, 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 blah. There's another $500. Dozen cans of brake clean, a can of mineral spirits to wash stuff out with, 10 rolls of paper towels, a bag of kitty litter, you know. Look, there's another 100 or two. I mean, you know how this stuff goes. New fluid, new filter. I was probably exaggerating earlier and telling you guys it was $4,500. By the time we really keep adding, it's probably closer to $5,000. I don't know. But there's the picture of that. And let me just show you a couple other ones. And then come back over here and see what you guys are up to. All right. Yes, there is a Parker store. What's happening, Jane Lock? How you doing? Yes, there are Parker stores, but I'm trying to do some on the weekend. And here's the problem. You go to the Parker store and have them make a custom hydraulic hose. It's minimum $100. Minimum $100 nowadays. Literally. Yes, as Gerald stating here, hydraulic hoses are expensive these days. Yes, sir. That tells me you bought one because you buy one. The first thing you say is, dang, these are expensive. Let me read a couple super chats and we'll flip through some more pictures. Colin L with a super chat. What's happening, Colin? How you doing, man? He says, what motor? How many hours? Well, the engine's a Briggs & Stratton Vanguard. Vanguard's their commercial industrial series. 35 horsepower, 2,650 something, 51 hours when it, not the engine, but when the pump seized and grenaded, if you will. A little bit more than that now because I've been cutting all week trying to catch up. And then Colin out with another super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Colin. Shout out to my friend from way up north of Michigan. He says, I'm thinking of doing my own business. Okay, Gravely and Deere uses a Kawasaki motor. For $10K, you could have gotten a nice used Z9 Series Z-Track. I'm sorry this happened, dude. Well, thanks for the condolences, man. And you know, that's the deal. You can, yes. And for 10 grand, it could be nice, and it probably will be, and you need to do a good job buying it right. But you could be buying someone else's problems too, though. It's always tough buying used. And I do buy used sometimes. I do. It's not that I'm opposed to buying used, but there's always a little inadvertent risk with that. And the reason I bought this one brand new when I did is Skaggs held the resale value so much at that time. You know, they were going for like at that time, like we're talking 12 years ago. So totally different economy. We're talking like they were going for like $7,000, 7,500 with a couple thousand hours on them. So I was like, you know, let's go all the way up to 11,000 or so, you know, a little over 11 with the fees and stuff for brand new. So it just depends what the economy is at the time and what's selling for what. But yeah, but I don't have 10K, dude. I didn't even have like the 45 to 4,700. I haven't itemized it down to the penny to do this. I had to charge most of it. So there you go. I didn't have 10 grand to go just give somebody. I didn't have 5 grand in cash just to give somebody. My homeowner's insurance for the whole year had just come up before that. Auto insurance, like just before that. Michigan's one of the most expensive auto insurance in this whole country. And then I had the crown on my tooth. Like it just hit me just like boom, 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 boom. Like ding, 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 ding. Anything that was saved up was like right back down to like, all right. Whew. Now when my lawns pay me, I'll just barely make the ends meet by scratching around, and then boom, it went. So yeah. I'll be paying my 29% on a lot of this is what it comes down to. But yeah, no, you're right, dude. I didn't have 10 grand just like in cash to hand somebody. Which is what it is. Is this going to automatically share this or not? I'm just going to flip through these pictures real quick before we jump off. If this is going to. I'm fumbling around a bit, but here's the deal. They literally changed StreamYard like sometime in the last 2 weeks, I guess. Okay, here's a close-up shot of the wheel motor. There used to be a way I could take my pictures and I could just scroll through them. I don't know. I guess I have to sit here and figure out how to. I just want to show you guys a couple more pictures to bring everything together, and then I will get off the topic of the mower. So, I told you guys last Friday, I'm like, look, I'm going to try to stream Saturday. If not, maybe and Sunday. And then I'm like, maybe. Look, I was working all night till like 2, 3 in the morning the next 2 nights. And then I finally got stuff wrapped up on Monday, but then the reality set in and I still had to cut all of the week, the week before's lawns last week. Like this week, rather. Last week's lawns, this week. I don't even know what week it is. It's just been this weird thing. I've been out of my groove for a week and a half now. Yeah, so I had to literally catch up on all those because if you just skip a week total, now you've literally skipped being able to invoice. So imagine you work somewhere and you like literally work for 2 weeks but only get 1 check. Because here's the problem. All that grass is still growing. It's waiting for you. Right? So, yeah, it's just one of those things where you don't want to skip because grass is still growing. That's the key. If grass was all dormant and wasn't growing, that could be different. But grass is still actively growing. So if I skip, I have to cut twice as much grass for one money, which for those of you who are self-employed, you totally know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you that work for somebody, it's like, yeah, come in and work 2 weeks and we'll give you 1 week's pay. So, yeah, that's tough. Okay, there we go. So this is one side here. So this is on the right side. That's the hydraulic pump itself. Okay, that was seized. This is the left side, the seized one. There's the wheel motor. You can see the 2 high pressure lines that have that wrap on them. Now this is a lawnmower. It's outside, so there's grit and dirt on everything. I have to do lots of cleaning just to find my hose clamps. So see all these smaller lines? I was labeling them with tape. We wrote out a nice map from this port on this to this port on the cooler. From this port on the oil filter housing over to this port on this. Left, right. My wife wrote it for me while I was sitting there reading off stuff. So we drew ourselves a nice road map. I took these different pictures. I even put tape on them. By the time I was said and done, we had 5 different colors of zip ties because it's hard just to find this information, like what hose goes where. And once you take all this stuff off, how would you remember how it all goes, right? Because there's technically like 50 options. So just off of one pump, you can see there's like 1, 2, 3 low pressure lines, 2 high pressure lines. There's your wheel motor. Keep in mind, you have to pull the hub off, the brake hub assembly off. That's hard to get off. You have to take off all the brake assemblies to get to that. So your wheel motor, that's your axle sticking out of there. If you can see in the bottom left part of the picture, there's a hub that gets pressed on over that. You have a tapered fitting with a tapered shaft, rather, with a Woodruff key, castle nut, with a cotter pin that you stick through the hole when the castles line up. About 200 foot-pound of torque. And then keep tightening to the next castle opening if needed. You can kind of see some of the bolts sticking through here where this wheel motor had mounted up. That's the one laying on the ground on the left side. The bolts are longer, so they come through. There's a whole brake assembly. There's, but yeah, that shows you some of it right there. Now, there used to be a way I could literally just like share my pictures and scroll through them, and that's what I had intended to do. So I will try to just find one more picture that shows you all a little bit more, and then I'm going to read some comments and jump off of here. Does this work? No, it just shows the window. All right. Well, I'll post some more pictures for you all over on Locals if you want to see, but hopefully you followed along at least a little bit. And yeah. I can't just pop all my pictures in there and keep going. But yeah, basically by the time it was said and done, I had to go with all new, because here's the thing, the soft lines or the low pressure lines, these have been on there for 12, almost 13 years at this point. They were hard, they were brittle. To get each individual hose clamp off, these are like ideal worm gear, clamps. I had to literally sit there with each one, give it a sniff of brake clean, hit it with a toothbrush just to even get to the head, because it's a lawnmower. It's out in the grime and dirt, and it is what it is. Just took a long time, and I had to learn how to do it as I was doing it. That's the key. Johnny Gunny 1, what's happening, man? Ammo is still high. Well, here's the thing, man. It's actually not at all. And I can tell by you saying that you're not following the 2A EDU Locals community, and you're not following me on X, because here's the thing, man. I just posted like 20 count box of 5.56 for like $7.99 yesterday. Dude, that's like right there at like, 2019 price. Brass case, 62 grain. I also just within the last week have been posting over on Locals and X, $9.99 for 59 millimeters, stuff like that. So I understand if you go into a lot of like your big box store, oh yeah, it's still really expensive. But if you know 2A EDU, I share the deals, and they are like, there's some really good deals that I share. And dude, it's like a win-win, right? Like literally, like you can use my deals. It's actually a way you can help support the channel financially, totally for free, and save yourselves a ton of money. Because I posted some smoking deals on ammo a lot lately, and I'm going to keep doing it. While the getting's good, we're going to keep talking about it. So the good news is ammo can be cheap if you pay attention to my deals. Now, I can lead you to water, and I ain't going to try to make you drink. Just trying to help you out, though. All right. So you guys left 41 comments, which I really appreciate. And I'm going to give you guys hearts here in real time. So my friend, dude named Red. Now, this is your @ names, which YouTube's goofy now. Might show up different than your name, but I'm just going to read them as they come here. And thank you again, Red, for leaving the Cash App 2 weeks ago and then last Friday. That seriously helped a lot. Thank you. He says, never done this. This is him quoting me. Never done this job before, but I'm learning. This is the way. Well, thanks, man. And I did. I'd never done this before, guys. Some of you might be laughing at me being like, dude, you worked on this mower for like over a week? Yeah, it broke down on a Sunday. I didn't even have the money to buy all the parts. So I had to scramble here, scramble there, picked up some stuff locally here in this town, this way, then some more locally in this town the complete other way, some stuff online, a few incidentals had to be ordered in from the local place, which I had to go back to a second time. We don't have them in stock, but we can get them tomorrow. I had a pulley that took me half the day. And then I had some people that have been mechanics their whole life look at it and they're like, dude, it's just a SOB. Like sometimes it just happens and you didn't even really do anything wrong. This one just sucked. So I'm not saying I did a perfect job by any means. It's just that's what happened. I know it sounds stupid, but yeah. Harry Grumley says, sir, we will wait. Stay safe. I've never seen one so tore down. I'm impressed with your skills and determination. Sending prayers. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Carbon Spider came in and said, good to see you don't make a big mess when you work on stuff. I'll be impressed. I will be impressed when it will cut grass again. Good luck, man. Well, thank you. And we have been cutting grass with it this week. I did notice a teeny bit as I did my first couple test lawns, a teeny air bubble forming in the hydraulic reservoir. You don't want that. That's not good. Now, I don't think cavitation was occurring. There wasn't any grinding or whining or whatever. That took me a good bit to track that down. I had reused a metal fitting on the low pressure side, and it's one of those adjustable hydraulic fittings, and it failed like in the center. Not on the O-ring side, but in the center. And I saw a teeny drop forming. I went in there, loosened it, readjusted it, tiger tight. Not where the boss of the fitting it's called, the O-ring side. It's an O-ring boss fitting, straight threads on hydraulics, steel fitting. You don't want to refound it into the aluminum pump, not there, but in the middle part, backing it up. You know what I'm talking about on the bottom, and I just reefed it tiger tight as hard as I could. That stopped that little pinhole leak long enough for me to order a new OEM fitting. Yesterday I picked that up. That's $35. Now there's not even a bubble at all. So, and I was trying not to buy all the new metal fittings. You think yourself, it's a steel fitting, it should be good to go. And normally it would be, but I just don't have good luck. So there you go, Carbon Spider. I did get it. And as of right now, no leaks, no air bubbles. So thank you, man. Fluffy, 10mm Jeep guy. What's happening, man? How you doing? He gave me the double thumbs up and said, take care of what you need. We will be here. Well, I appreciate you, man. I hope you're doing good. And some of you guys may be watching right now. Some of you might not be, but I'll say hi to all of you. Gray Man, what's happening, Gray Man? Channel member, he says, good luck on the project. We all understand. Well, thanks, man. I needed the luck, and I think I got through it. Bill Alexander, channel member. What's happening, Bill? He says, no problem. Do what needs to be done. We will still be here, and good luck. Well, thanks, dude. Keith Frazier says, hoping and praying for you, sir. Well, thank you. He says, thank you again for all the hard work that you put into your work and your channel. I really do appreciate it and wish you success in everything you work for. Oh, man, that's nice of you. Thank you. Vince Metzger. What's up, Vince? He says, good luck on this project. We support you 100%. Well, thank you. Marcus Ramsey says, take your time. I ain't going nowhere. Hope everything goes right. And you have a blessed one, sir. Well, thank you. And God bless you, too. J-Flow says, you got this 2AE to you. He's giving me some power emojis there. Well, thank you, J-Flow. Sprouchford, what's happening, man? Longtime channel supporter and channel member. Says, praying for you, brother. Much love. Well, much love to you. And thank you, sir. We have Calvin Newberry. Says, brother, feel your pain. You got this. So you've been there. You get what I'm saying. Thank you. We have Frederick Gerber. Says, do well and stay safe. Well, I did make it through the whole thing safe, guys. Jack stands. Yes. Mr. H0661, channel member. Thank you. He says, take care of the important stuff. Hope you get it. Well, I don't know if I got it working soon, but I did get it working. Girl Carpenter, sorry to hear it. Looks like you're on your way, and we'll get it figured out. I'll definitely pray you get it done in a timely manner. We got water in the gas tank. Okay, he's got his zero turn woes in the gas tank of our zero turn. And after many hours of tinkering and ultimately taking the gas tank and putting on a few replacement parts, I got it fixed. See, you know what I'm talking about, chasing your own tail. YouTube definitely came through for me on that one. Hang in there. Well, glad you got yours fixed, and thanks for the encouragement, man. We have Stop the Philosophical Zombie. Says impressive. Not afraid to try a new repair. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm impressive. I was too desperate to be scared. You know, it is a little bit nerve wracking though, taking off all these parts and putting on like $4,000 plus in parts, and you've literally never did it before at all. And there's like weird pulleys on the back. They're 2-piece with a center tapered hub and a keyed shaft taper, and you can adjust it. And it's just a weird. So yeah, some of it was kind of straightforward. Some of it was a bit weird. We have Crossbones says, good luck, buddy. Sure missed the beautiful state of Michigan. Well, thank you. And I hope you're somewhere that's beautiful as well. And we'd like to have you come back and hang out sometime. We have Arad77. Arad says, no problem, buddy. Have a good one. Well, thanks, man. We have David Thomas. Keep hydrated and just keep at it. I kept at it, and I was literally dehydrated for 2 days because I didn't want to stop working. And then I realized I need to drink. Do you guys ever go like pee and like barely anything comes out and it's like way too dark yellow? Yeah, man. I've been working outside for like 25 years plus. And I did get dehydrated, David. I really did, actually. It was hot outside those days. But I was like, dude, you got to stop and drink. And yeah, but I made it through. I wasn't like going to go to the hospital. But yeah, I got dehydrated a little bit one day. For a couple of days, it seemed like. Barney Brady says, upgrade it to a drag racing status and cut your route in half. LOL. It already goes 12 miles an hour. It's already enough to pop you right out of the seat. So, you know, he says, you got it, man. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Ooh, look, man. It's like Barney Brady's kind of talking about like the gist of what we read in Ephesians earlier. If you think about it. Love you, man. And don't sweat the small stuff. We'll be here whenever you get real life squared away. 2-8 Edu, you're the man. Well, thank you. That was an encouraging comment. I appreciate it, Barney. We have Eggerizer. Says, gotta keep on chugling. Well, thank you, Eggerizer. What's happening, man? We have Ruger Al, channel member, says, feel you, brother. One thing, it's another. I know, dude. And like I explained, for me, it was like the whole week before that even. Jeez. M. Gabriel says, missed this, exclamation point. Well, you got it now. Matt Morrison. What's happening, Matt? He says, good luck, 2-8 Edu. Anything hydraulic can suck to work on, in my opinion. You got this. I think I did. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you being such a long-time viewer, man. Marco Polo, channel member. What's up, Marco? Says, take care of your business, sir. We understand. Well, thank you. We have Stephen Wagner, another longtime viewer. He says, just like farming. I know. Stuff breaks when you're busy and need it. Gotta do what you need to. Get it back to work. Yes, sir. Man, shout out to all the farmers. You guys know what I'm talking about. We have Mike Taylor. Good luck. Been there. All right. You been there. You know. Well, thanks, Mike. Killer Camfu. What's happening, man? How you doing? Shout out to the replay crew, by the way. He says, hey, this takes precedent. Best of luck. We have David Nunn. Says, good luck, brother. I know hydro systems can be a pain. Yeah, it was a pain. That's for sure. Thank you. Oh, there he is. Dale, otherwise known as N8IWS, says, big job. Be sure to flush that oil cooler and any lines you need to reuse. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I was reading your comment while I was working on it. I was like too covered in grease to actually respond to you guys while I was doing this, if you're wondering. We have Rosie A8460. What's happening, Rosie? I think I saw you in the chat for a minute earlier tonight. She says, was wondering why I didn't get an alert for the live. And even though it's not good news, that can be replaced and you can't. Oh, man. Well, thank you. And she said, see you tomorrow, Sorry I lied to you. I really was hoping I could have done it the next night. I ran into trouble. I'm part of it. And then, yeah. Then I just realized, oh, shoot, I'm a week behind on my work. Duh. Thank you, Rosie. I wish I would have seen you last Saturday on here. We have DB2A7. Says, be sure to flush all those metal out from the hydraulic system. It's a big, messy job, but it's got to be done. Yes, sir. Absolutely correct. Thank you for that advice. We have Lori DeVries sending a little heart and a hug emoji. Well, thank you, Lori. Nice to see you. Garbage, deplorable, bitter, clinger. Nice. Says, it'll be easier next time. Yes, but hopefully there isn't a next time. Bingo. Nailed it. Harry Grumley says, hope you're doing well. Well, thanks, Harry. I hope you are too. Just wanted to let you know a Minnesota judge knocked down the anti-binary trigger ruling. It illegal or unconstitutional because it was added to another bill and they were supposed to be separate. Well, that's good. That's good for now. We'll see if they try to screw you in another way, but right on, Minnesota. Frederick Gerber, did you get her done? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Arid77, 3 hours ago. Live tonight. Well, I don't know. Are you watching me right now? I'm literally live right now. Bryce K60. What's happening, Bryce? Do you guys think Bryce is joking or not? I don't know what this means. He says, don't tell me you have a lawn maintenance company. So there's two. This is what's hard with written text. I think he's joking around me. I'm like, dude, don't tell me you have a lawn maintenance company. Like, whoa, I do too. I think that's how I read that. With it, or he might be like, dude, don't tell me you own a lawn maintenance company. You don't own no company. I don't know how Bryce meant it, but I think he meant it in the joking way. He just didn't use any punctuation or LOL, so we'll give him a heart. Charles Taylor was first. Rick says, call in some locals and get her done. I called people. My wife came and helped me, and that was basically it. My buddy Frank stopped by for just a split second, and he did help me for about 5 minutes with something crucial. My other buddy Frank helped me in a different way, although he wasn't turning wrenches with me. But I didn't have anybody that could really come there and like truly get in there and lay down and wrench with me, except for my lovely wife who stayed with me for about 8 hours or so, 2 different days. This did not break down at our house. This did not break down at our shop. So that's the other thing I'll throw out there as I conclude this. I had to fill my whole stake truck up with tools, which took me hours just to get all the tools I needed. Still had to go back to the shop 3 or 4 times to get tools. Her going up to Walmart to get stuff, going up to a couple different dealers because this has this in stock, this doesn't. It didn't break down at my shop. It didn't break down. It was totally locked up. Didn't have the capability, like it broke down in a lawn. Does that make sense now? On a big commercial piece of property. I'm not going to say who it is, but luckily I was able to fix it on site there, which is like really, really awesome considering the pickle I was in. Still not the same as being at your own house or your own shop. So just keep that in mind. You guys see that it's like in a shop, if you will? Yes. That's where it broke down, which is not my shop and not my house. Rick says, calling some locals. Okay, I just read that. And James Hayden says, priorities. We fully understand, buddy. Well, thanks, James Hayden. I appreciate you, man. Yes, I just wanted to read all those. Donald Balls. Yeah, actually. I hate to imagine how you thought you got there and it won't even start. I know. Is it your first thought is, dude, so the motor blew too? Nope, it's just the engine's constantly running those pulleys, the 1-part locks. Yeah. Yeah. Dale says, I love hydraulics. Yeah, that's cool, dude. But you don't love the part where you're down there on your back under this mower and everything's covered in grass clippings, dirt, grease. You don't plan this is going to happen. I couldn't just there was no access to me power washing it off first. Of all the places it could have broke down, the most convenient would have been at my shop or at my house. because my shop is not my house, but I do have a garage at my house that doesn't have as many tools as there is at the shop, but there's still quite a few tools. But yeah, it just broke down where it did. And I was lucky that they were able to drag it in with a piece of their equipment, this customer I had, where I had shelter and was able to work underneath a roof because it rained several times. So trust me, it could have been a lot worse. But, you know, just bringing all the tools is a big deal. Yeah, man. All right. Just going to take one last peek at the chat. Colin L said, a crush washer needs to be replaced. Yeah, well, I know what you're talking about. The way this hydraulic fitting is you can loosen up, you can like run the nut up the threaded part to give you slack and reposition it. So it's not a swivel fitting, meaning once it's torqued, you don't get any swivel movement, nothing like that. But it's adjustable where you get to pick which way that there's like one of them's a 3/4 inch O-ring fitting, the one fitting size, then there's 9/16 O-ring fittings. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, well, some of you do, some of you don't. I'm not going to get into all that because that could be an hours long discussion. Hydraulics can actually get complicated. There's different types. There's flat faced, there's boss, O-ring fittings. So I'm not talking about the part that fits down the boss part of it with the O-ring onto the pump. It's the part that you adjust in the middle where you get to find your final angle for your barbed fitting. This is a 3/8 inch barb on the other end. Gosh, I wish I had a fitting with me here. The part where this was leaking a little bit, there isn't exactly a washer there. I don't know. I do know what you're talking about. I did lose a week of work, Carbon Spider, but like I pretty much caught up on it. So I don't have to skip on billing all my lawns for the week. But then I did have to skip other things. So in the end, yeah, I lost some revenue for sure. I just, kind of hedged against it the best I could. Where instead of losing everything, all of my income for the week, maybe I split the difference and only lost like a quarter of my revenue for the week. Does that make sense? But here's the problem. When you spend that many thousands on just the mower, you also needed a crown on your tooth and also a big couple lump sum like payments were due on other stuff. You need to make like 4 times more than normal that week, right? What's up, Randy Smith? Glad you got it up and running, brother. We missed you. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, make sure you guys come back and hang out with me this weekend on Locals. Links down in the description for that and that big green meanie site that YouTube doesn't like that rhymes with fumble. Make sure you're also checking out 2AEDU on X. And I also wanted to thank, just in the last 3 days, since these mower issues, we did get 3 new channel members, which were channel members that, kind of rejoined, I think, for the most part. But I want to thank all of you. James Kawasaki came in 3 days ago and became a channel member again. Wow, 48 months for James. Bill Camperas just came in and became a rejoined channel member for 37 months. Ron 2A Matters came in and rejoined channel member for 3 months. And just tonight, Barney Brady came in and rejoined channel member for 30 months. Wow. I have read too many names off and read too many comments tonight, I think, because we've been on for over 2 hours. Next week, I might give a shout out and read all of my channel members. I was tempted to read the list, but I've been streaming for 2 hours and 13 minutes. And I was just talking about like how irresponsible I was and got dehydrated a little bit last week for a couple days. I think I'm dehydrated now. Not bad, just, black cherry juice. Good. Made from concentrate, like pure, like not artificial, like the real deal stuff. Yeah. 3 new channel members came in. The super chats tonight. Those of you that are supporting over on Patreon, over on Locals, You guys help keep this channel going. Look, I don't expect you guys to pay to keep my lawnmower going. Duh. I don't expect any of you to do even to keep this channel going. But as you guys can see, me telling you a little bit more about, my other side of my business tonight, it's all I can do to keep that going right now. The landscaping business does not have any extra money to fund the channel. So when I say you guys that support, whether it's on locals, look, guys, just go check out my locals. Here's a way real quick you guys can support. You guys are my sponsors is what I'm saying. Literally. I'm not doing ad reads. Like, there's not ad reads. Many channels do. Shout out to them. I don't. You guys are keeping this channel going. The landscaping company right now does not have money to support this. So thank you to all of you. If you want to be a financial supporter, totally free, no money out of your pocket, extra, check out the links for deals for stuff that I post. I do it on X. I do it on locals. Almost every day. I was so busy. See, keep in mind, since the mower broke down somewhere else, I was there so much, it was hard for me to get back to my shop. So these places, there's a drive between like my house and here and there. I don't want to make this sound more complicated, but it was tough. I didn't post many deals this last week, but if you can support my channel by buying stuff you guys normally do using my link. So don't forget that. And here is a few deals because I buy this stuff, a lot of the stuff I share with you guys, so that I can review it and tell you about it. And here's another teaser for all of you that stayed at the very, very end. A little birdie told me that, not this, we did a video on this, and I like this one a lot, actually. The Osite S. There's the newer SE. Dude, I don't even really use their lights anymore, just between you and me. Oh, light. But these sights, I'm like really, really liking. And it's not this. This video is on the channel already. But there might be two more things that are somewhat related to this that might be at my house, and I need to bring them to my shop tomorrow. So if you guys are into this type of stuff, there might be something similar. Now, not literally this exactly, just there's a couple more things from right up here coming. And I'm really, really liking that stuff. So if you guys are into sites, yeah, black cherry juice is good to fight off gout. Okay, that's good to know. That's good, right, Jane? Dude, Jane, there's been so much wind and stuff, there's branches all over the joint, ain't there? I've been at Jane's house hanging out a few times. We've hung out over at Jane's. What's happening, Jane? Are you doing all right? I hope you're doing good. I know Jane actually loves the Bible verse that I read tonight. Right, Jane? Like, you literally love Ephesians 6:10 through 18, that portion. Jane's like, dude, like, I love the whole Bible, obviously. I know, but this is like, in fact, last time I checked, part of this might be literally like right on Jane, Miss Jane L. It might literally be in her email signature. See? Just might be. What's happening, Drew, in Oregon? How you doing, Drew? Friends, family are always here in the 2A community. Yeah, dude, except for the ones that are your enemies. There's a bunch of friends here, for sure. I haven't seen any enemies here tonight. Like, literally nothing like that. Colin Allen snuck in another super chat there. I'm glad I got to see it, man, because I like to be able to thank you all kindly. Thank you, Colin. He says, well, looking at a Gravely with a cow motor, new 52 cut, 5K. Yeah, I have a Lesco Z2 sitting out there. That's my backup mower. Now I'm really going to be hustling once I get caught back up here in the next few days where I'm just at my normal work schedule, which is still a lot of work. I need to get my Lesco Z2, which is actually a clone of what was called the Cub Cadet Commercial Tank M60. Anyways, to make a long story short, that has a Kawasaki 25 horsepower. It's the FH721V engine is what it's called. And that used to be my primary mower from, I want to say, like 2005-ish up to where I bought the Skag Turf Tiger that broke down recently. And then that one kind of like got a little bit rough and kind of broke down. And I was like, well, I've been using the Skag mainly anyways. And It's not that I was like, I don't ever want to fix my backup mower. It wasn't even that. It's just you can only do so much at once. You know, if it's not the mower, it's the truck. If it's not the truck, it's the whatever. I had just got done buying new tires and new spindles and brakes for my trailer, my lawnmower trailer. And here's the crazy part. Saturday night, I did the left half. Monday morning, the mower broke down. So I still have to finish the other side of my trailer axles and bearings, right? Well, not the whole axles, but the spindles. I'm sorry. The axle spindles. The one's an idler. The other's a brake, drum brake assembly. But I did pay for those parts a while ago, but I still have to do it. So it's just always something, you know? So you can be self-employed and chase the American dream and it sucks, or you can work for somebody and it sucks, but there are rewards hopefully either way too, right? Oh, Kurt just sent me a Cash App. Let me check that again right now. Hopefully he'll give it to me in real time. I do have Cash App in the description. Dude, Kurt24 just jumped in with a generous Cash App and said, rather do Cash Apps, you get all of it. And I do get all of it. So thank you. I mean, it might literally take like 30 cents or something. If it takes anything, it's like so trivial that it's not like even enough to make a percentage point. So yes, thank you, Kurt. I really appreciate it, man. Generous $20 Cash App. And Red last week, Red probably get mad for me thanking him, but I want to thank you anyways, dude. He'll literally leave me messages sometimes and be like, thank you is not necessary. I know, but I like to thank people. So thank you, Red, for last Friday. Also the Friday before that on Cash App. And thank you, Kurt, just a couple minutes ago for chiming in. That really does help a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think I get into that tea, DB Cooper. That's not my cup of tea, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Armor of God, AOG. Used to build armored vehicles. Yes, ma'am. AOG International, Army of God, and Armor of God. I'm getting tired, sorry. Armor of God. Well, armor and army, both. We need to be God's army with God's armor, right, Jane? But yeah. Put on the whole armor of God. Right, Jane? That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Whew. Man, like it's one of those things, and this is good. It's good to get your mind in the right place for words such as this, because this is like literally like you just read through these verses, and this is like some of the most scary, like sinister stuff there possibly is. Against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. It talks about the devil himself, the wiles of the devil. And like, you sit there and you're like, what the heck could a guy like me do to that? Nothing actually, but until, and this I'm going to leave you guys with a very positive note, until you put on the whole armor of God and his helmet and the sword of the Spirit. And you put all that on, hold on a minute. Now the devil coin ain't so tough anymore. Like, you know what I mean? You just going in there on your own, you're done. You are. What can a guy like me or you do against the devil? Are you kidding me? God's like, I got you on this one. Put on this armor, helmet, sword. Oh yeah, talk about level up. Then the devil's like, whoa. I was just joking. I didn't really threaten you yesterday. You know what I'm saying, right? There's a lot to that. Yeah, I love reading the Bible. I really do. All right, I'm going to take one last look at the chat here. And then we're going to hit the old hay, hit the old sack. And Ace Diamond just came in just to round it out with another super chat. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate it, man. He said, I got to hit the sack. Good night. Me too. And with that, I will see hopefully a bunch of you guys just this tomorrow, Saturday. Saturday is tomorrow. Oh, technically today. Saturday night or Sunday, one of the two, but I will give you plenty of notice. I will be streaming live on Locals and that big green meanie site that rhymes with fumble. Links are down in the description. Check out the deals on Locals and over there on X, otherwise known as Twitter. And Vince's mags are now loaded so we can end the stream. Thank you, Vince. I literally sat there and stalled for Vince Dale this whole time. His mags are loaded. You doing a lot of shooting, Vince? And you don't have to answer me publicly. I ask this in sincerity. Are you doing okay, Vince? I know sometimes, some of you guys have had certain issues, maybe with your health and certain. Are you still doing well? I know you told me a while ago you're essentially good to go. I hope that's true, man. And again, it doesn't require an answer. Just, I've been thinking about you. I've prayed for you more than once or twice. So are you doing good, Vince? And I hope you are. Blasting every weekend. Okay, well, that's all the answer I need. All right. Nice. All right, good night, Rosie. Dude, he's all fixed up. He's just like my lawnmower. See? There you go. Vince and my lawnmower, you can't even tell the difference between the two of them right now. Right? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And have a good one. Zanty Misfit sneaking in. I'll say good night to you, too, since I just saw you at the last minute. Good night, man.